It's time for Sun Devil Extra, presented by Spring Hill Suites, Phoenix, Scottsdale. Braiden Bell alongside the athletic director here at ASU, Graham Rossini. And Graham, our first road show, we've talked about this for months.
I love it.
It is February 4th as we're recording this, folks. It is a beautiful sunny day. We are here at Farrington Stadium. Softball season underway this week. I mean, this is what it's all about, Graham, right?
I mean, this is one of the coolest settings in all of college softball. And Club Farrington has a reputation of its own, and we're playing softball this week. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we'll be joined by Coach Bartlett later in the program, so we'll talk plenty about the softball season to come, which, as we said, gets going this week. But we'll start the show today talking about the brand new, hot off the presses football schedule release.
Yes.
Of course, we've been teasing that on this program for several weeks now, and I know Sun Devil Nation was itching to see the schedule release. We finally got it, and we'll just go through a couple of the highlight dates. Season opener, of course, we knew that already, August 30th against NAU. A fun non-conference game at Mississippi State on September 6th, down to the SEC country. But the home opener in Big 12 play, TCU, on September 27th. Conference opener will be the week before that against Baylor. You know, just some dates to start off with, but I know people are really excited to finally get those dates set, whether you're traveling on the road or, of course, with all the new season ticket holders, you know when you'll be inside Mountain America Stadium now next fall.
It's we're excited about the schedule, you know, and it's a little bit later than we would have preferred. Obviously, we've talked to the Big 12 about that, but the good thing is there's a lot of interest in our conference. There's a lot of interest in the ASU games in particular, and so just happy to release it today, and I think it's a great schedule. We're excited about the matchups. We're excited about the time of year, and you know, home road to get going, and then we've got 5 games in the best time of year, and so that's really important as we continue to build an electric energy in Mountain America Stadium, and we want to sell out this entire season, and I think the schedule gives us a great chance to do that.
Obviously a very home-friendly schedule as well, like you said, towards the back half for sure, but you look at this schedule, and Sean Crespin and I already played the Let's Guess Our Record game, even though it's February 4th. We won't do that on this program, but it is a favorable schedule in terms of the amount of home games, and obviously the activation of the Valley has been talked about, you know, hundreds of times by now, but getting a chance to play in front of that crowd more times than not, it's a huge advantage.
Yeah, and again, I mean, opening up on a Saturday and not a Thursday, that's important, as we want electric energy in our stadium. We want a great home field advantage. We want to give more people a chance to plug in and watch this really exciting football team compete, and so happy to have the schedule out. That's a big first step. We have our spring showcase and Fan Fest on April 25th, and then at that point forward, we'll be talking football every single day, getting ready for the season. And you know, today was a good milestone. Get the schedule out, and can't wait to see it come to life here in a couple months.
Those highlight reel games that fans always immediately circle, of course, the Territorial Cup being one of them. And Graham, I know last week or the week before you kind of alluded to maybe a surprise with the schedule, returning back to a post-Thanksgiving tradition. 28th/29th is what was on the schedule release, so I know that's kind of still being talked about in terms of the Territorial Cup, but we were just talking off air. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's to do with the TV deal, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still a really good likelihood that game is on Friday. There's a lot of interest in the TV networks in our games, and so we're kind of in a final negotiation with the Big 12 and the networks on that particular game. A couple different time slots that we're looking at, and we know it's an important game, so we want to make sure that it's a great experience for people coming in on a Black Friday, and then making sure that we get the TV slot right to get the entire nation tuned in to one of the most important rivalries in the country. The TCU game may also be a Friday. That one's still kind of up in the air as a possibility, but it's all contingent on TV networks wanting to put the Sun Devils on television, and so a great problem to have from where we sit.
It's good to be wanted, right?
Absolutely.
And it's good to talk about football, and now we finally have dates on the calendar to do so. So very exciting stuff.
Get your tickets now.
Yes, and
selling quickly.
And we've shown the graphic already, talking about the schedule. But again, if you need to look at it more, thank you, Graham, teasing it there. You know, if you need to look at it further, of course, that is accessible all over the place, obviously on sundevils.com, on social media, all those things. Flipping it over now to basketball and talking about Arizona State basketball, the Arizona game in Tempe on Saturday. It was an electric crowd, a great back and forth game, but unfortunately, kind of like what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, just fell short. Obviously, the intensity of the rivalry on full display towards the end of that game as well. I guess, you know, you're just to takeaways from the U of A game on Saturday.
Yeah, another close one that slipped away at the end, unfortunately, and that's where this team's going to have to hurry up and figure out how to finish, how to close out these games that are close with 3 or 4 minutes left, and then it seems like we've been on the wrong end of that slipping away in the final few minutes. A lot left to play for. You know, we've got half the Big 12 schedule left to go. Really important one against Kansas State this week, and then getting into the weekend with more conference on tap. You know, we got to find ourselves. We got to find ourselves as a team. We got a lot of talent on this roster. We've got a great coaching staff. We need to find a way to harmonize all that so we can go close out these important wins. But again, shout out to the fan base. That was an overwhelming ASU crowd at Desert Financial Arena, 13,500 fans in there. For the most part, got a great show. Unfortunate the way that it ended. There's been a lot of coverage on the ending of the game and the emotions running high, which is to be expected. I'm okay with the fact that we diffused it. Talked to Coach after the game. Handshakes are important in our setting. Sportsmanship is always important. We've talked to that. We've apologized to U of A for not having that handshake, and that's important moving forward. But we got to finish these games. There's no way around it. We're in a crunch time part of the season. We need to be delivering. We need to be playing team basketball, and a lot left to play for. So we're focused on that.
Yeah, about to round into the home stretch really of this season. You mentioned Kansas State at home, and the good thing about being in the Big 12, along with Oklahoma State on the road this week, I should say, the good thing about being in the Big 12, especially in terms of men's basketball, there's no such thing really as a bad loss. Every win is valuable. So as you said, they still have time, but of course it's a big week for men's basketball this week, trying to pick up a couple of wins, one at home, one on the road. Speaking of big wins, we talked about hockey going on the road, maybe a get-right weekend on the road. Well, they hurt us. They responded with a dominant sweep of Miami, Ohio. How about outscoring the Redhawks 11-2 over a 2-game sweep? I mean, it was just a dominant performance by Greg Powers' bunch. They're back to a tie at the top of the NCHC with Western Michigan. It was a very good weekend to be a Sun Devil on the ice.
Yeah, it was. And Miami's in a rebuild right now as a program, but I think the radio guys did a great job talking about there's still a lot of support for the Redhawks in their arena, and it's still a difficult place to play. We haven't had success against that program historically. Nice to be able to change the tone of that matchup this weekend. Dominant wins. It took a little bit of an injury toll. We had 2 players with some pretty significant injuries. Hopefully getting Artie back here pretty soon. Benji, just sad for him to probably miss the rest of the season based on the injury that he experienced getting warmed up for Friday night. But teammates picked him up, and that's what you always like to see when you lose some key pieces, which both of them are. The rest of the team rallied around, picked them up, and we got out of Miami with 2 big wins.
Yeah, you mentioned Artie, and that was a scary situation, of course, but it was great to see, as you say, the team picked him up, and now next man up mentality for maybe the biggest home weekend that ASU hockey has experienced in a while. You get Denver in here on Friday and Saturday, number 6 in the country, Denver. And of course, ASU went to Denver in late November and swept them. So it'll be a big weekend.
They're coming
home.
For us. Yeah, yes, no doubt. I mean, they've circled this matchup since we were up in their building a few months ago, and so we know we got to come ready to play. That's an elite program in college hockey. There's no way around that, and they're the class of our conference right now. And we've got a good test on our hands this weekend, and can't wait to do it in front of the home crowd at Mullet Arena. It's going to be amazing.
Blackout Friday at 7 o'clock, so make sure you're with the theme there, and then Saturday 5 p.m. against Denver. And like Graham just said, a premier program in college hockey taking on ASU, who's at the top of the conference late in the year. Just 4 weekends remain.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, very hard to believe, but it's right there, all for the taking for this Sun Devil squad. Finally, we're here at Farrington, so we got to talk about softball before we hand it over to Coach Barrett in a moment. But the Kajikawa Classic gets going Thursday. They'll be at home really all weekend. Thursday night, Friday, Saturday as well, and then an afternoon game against Cal on Sunday at 1:30. So great. I know your experience being a baseball alum. It's great to be back. Springtime in the Valley rather is probably the best time of the year, I would say. I'm biased, but it's awesome that softball's back.
It is, and this is a program ready for takeoff. And Megan's done a great job since she took over the program, and she's got a talented roster. She's got a really healthy roster. We've spent a lot of attention on Farrington this last offseason. Brand new playing surface. Yeah. We've got the Jackie Lappin Sunshine Deck here in left field that we'll be able to really activate this season and use as a great place to just continue to enhance the fan experience in all of our sports in the way that we've been trying to do it. And so can't wait for them to get underway on Thursday, the Kajikawa Classic. It's a legacy event here at ASU with Coach Kaji, and in the right way to start off the softball season. And so really excited. There's a lot of incoming talent on this team, both in the transfer portal and then also in that traditional high school recruiting. And I think most importantly, when you can put your best team on the field starting the season. We haven't been able to do that the last couple of years, and so a lot of excitement as we head into softball this weekend.
Excitement about softball and excitement to hear from head coach Megan Bartlett. We'll do that. She'll be in this chair right here when we return on Sun Devil Extra.